Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to all the members of the public and councillors. Firstly, a brief health and safety introduction. We're not expecting a fire drill, but if the alarm does sound, please make your way to the nearest fire exit. That one I think is the nearest, isn't it? The emergency exit at the back of the chambers will take you across the roof and down the fire escape. Take care, as this may be slippery, wet. Or you can exit the way you enter the building through the police station and out of the front door. If it is not possible to get to an exit, then the lift lobby is a safety zone in the event of a fire. Under no circumstances should the lift be used, however. Please make sure that all mobile phones and devices are switched off or on silent. Any individual wishing to record the meeting may do so from the seats reserved at the front of the public gallery. Please remember, anyone wishing to speak in public participation part of the meeting should raise their hand and wait for me as the chair to gesture for you to carry on. Thank you. So we're going to start with apologies for absence and declaration of substitute members, please.
Mr. Chair, we have apologies from Councillor Borman, who's been substituted by Councillor Honeyman. Apologies from Councillor Murray, substituted by Councillor Lower, and apologies from Councillor McLean.
Thank you very much.
And sorry, as I said earlier about my wife, she's running a bit like that storm, so
she's stuck in traffic.
Half apology.
Yes. Half apology, I'll accept later. Disclosure of interests, item number 2, to deal with any disclosure by members of any disposable pecuniary interests and interest other than pecuniary interests, as defined under the Seaford Town Council Code of Conduct and the Localism Act 2011 in relation to matters on the agenda. Anyone? Okay, so we move on to public participation, and any members of the public wish to. This is one.
Good evening, everybody. Resident Sylvie Dunn. Agenda item 5. So I'm pleased to read regarding 1.3 and 1.7. More conditions have been included related to quality of service and performance standard, as well as taking into consideration proposals that demonstrate visitor experience that will be improved and enhancements to the trading area, both which I feel are very important to encourage more visitors to visit and return to lovely Seaford. This is not on the agenda, but I'd like to just make this question. I'd like to say, please would the council consider making a complaint to Leeds District Council regarding the continued lack of cleaning on the promenade. I've been working very closely with my ward councillor, Councillor Olivia Hanlon, who I'd like to say thank you to. But with district, it's like treading water. You do plenty of energy, but you seem to get nowhere. I know the weather has not been kind, but to leave litter and shingle under the benches is appalling and makes for sitting on the benches very uncomfortable, especially those less able, wheelchair users and those with young children. In all the years I've lived in Seaford, I have never seen this total lack of care from district on this level. The promenade now falls below an acceptable standard.
Thank you, Sylvia. Appreciate that. Yeah.
Okay, it's noted.
That's something that we know. Anyone else who'd like to participate? Anyone from the public? Thank you very much. So we move on to the next item, which is the finance report. Item number 4.
Yes, all the information's in the report, and it's just for members to approve.
Yes. Anyone has any questions?
Yeah, it's something I have raised before. I'm not at this meeting, obviously, but I noticed when I was looking through this, it's the non-contract grounds maintenance. I did have suggested to the town clerk in the past about using community payback for some of the maintenance that's needed, especially litter picking. I was actually signing off a payment last week, I think, where we were paying a company to actually clear litter, and we have got the chance to actually use community payback for such routine jobs, and I wondered if that could be investigated further as a money saving exercise.
Excellent, thank you.
Yes, Chair, I can investigate a little bit further with community payback on that. We've worked with them previously. What I had found before was that they only worked on Saturdays in the Seaford area, and we had to provide all of the support equipment, so shovels, pickers, bags, and I was actually working in my own personal time to deliver the equipment, to meet them on site and to relieve them at the end of the day as well.
Okay.
They were supervised during their work,
Right.
but we had to then obviously meet them beginning and end of the day. It was difficult to get people to work during the week. It depends on how they manage their teams, but I think we can review it again and see if there's options available to us.
Yes, would that be something that the councillors could help, so you don't have to work in your time? I mean, I'm sure some councillors would be quite happy to volunteer to do all the deliveries and, you know, on their own time. I
Yes,
think that would be
yes.
something that, you know, it's in the remit of the job of being a councillor, helping with all these, you know, kinds
Indeed.
of tasks. So, yeah.
That's one of the
just
reasons why we've gathered a stock of equipment, so those kind of options are available to us.
Fantastic.
It's then just a matter of collecting the equipment and delivering it to wherever it needs to go
Lovely,
to,
so
so
if you
there may
get
be
back
options.
to us on that would be fantastic. Thank you, Councillor Lower. Anyone else who'd like to come in? Councillor Honeyman, please.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, just regarding this clarification on when you say crouch recreation ground, you mean everything within the walls of the crouch, including the football, the bowls, everything, gardens, that's literally everything. So I just wondered if that was, that's obviously number 106, isn't it? I just wondered if that was a little bit more, if that's a good title for it, that's all partly. And I do have a question out of this meeting to Ben on the football ground. But I just wondered, that is basically everything within those walls, is that correct?
Yes, yeah. So it is an inherent name, Chairman, that it's always been known in our finance reports as Crouch Recreation Ground. I understand the point. I can obviously consider it with the town clerk whether we change that.
Right.
Because the income's done slightly differently, isn't it? In a sense, you've got different bits going on, haven't you? Within for the income coming in and stuff, isn't it?
I would say that it's
businesses, isn't it?
it's similar in nature to the other open spaces. The Salts, for example, has pitch hire, and most of they have similar functions as in dog bins, litter, play spaces. So yeah, it's just I assume it's a generic name that we've used purely as it's similar in nature to the Salts.
Right.
Yeah, thank you for that, Chairman. Ben.
Any more questions? So we are recommended to approve the report.
Indeed.
Councillor Hayder.
Yes, no, I want to say before what Richard asked before, you know, he said some councillor can help the delivering things, you know.
Yes.
We can help. You know, if you need, then email us, because me and my husband are out, we don't want the during the day.
I'm sure Ben will be quite happy to take up
Yeah,
the offer.
please, yeah, because he's working down.
Yes, excellent.
Thank you.
Thank you. So I think we can just move on to approve the report.
Mm-hmm.
Can we to vote on
Can
it?
you propose a
Yes, can
second?
we have a proposer? And the seconder, Councillor Lowe? Lower, not Lowe. All right, shall we vote, please? That's approved. Shall we move on to item number 5, concessions and tenders. To consider report 137/15, seek delegated authority for the selection of successful bids for concession licenses. Right, so we are recommended to delegate authority to the town clerk in consultation with the chairman of this committee and the mayor to award the successful tenders for concession licenses following the selection process. Any words on that?
Yes, Chair. I mean, ordinarily, a committee would be the body that selects the tender that's to be awarded. There were some delays in releasing the tenders, and because we've missed the community services date for return of tenders, we would essentially miss the new appointment of licences as it's on the 1st of April.
Right.
So in this instance, we're asking to delegate authority so the town clerk can assess the options
Right.
with yourself and obviously the mayor, and then choose the winning tenders essentially, so that we can get the new licences in place for the 1st of April.
Excellent. Any questions on that? Any comments?
Yeah, is it possible just to ask a few questions about the sessions themselves? I noticed that the two kiosks, the Martello Tower and is it called the West? The West, it's Bankers basically. I noticed that there could be 7-month or 12-month contracts. Am I right in assuming that Martello was 12 and Bankers was 7 in the past?
Yes, Chair. It depends on the operator essentially.
Yeah.
Historically, we've operated the tenders on a 7-month season because they're classed as seasonal licences. Previous operators have wished to close up for the winter period. But certainly the 2 operators we have there at the moment, they have, I think it's weekends and holidays only maybe, or certainly the Martello goes all year round.
Right. So there is flexibility.
Yes, yes, yeah. There's options available on them being able to close down for certain periods and just operate on weekends.
Okay.
And we ask for obviously the indicative amounts we put in the tender process are for the 7-month season, so if people are tendering for a 12-month, they want to be open for the full 12 months, then essentially they need to try and calculate a proportionate amount in addition to that,
Excellent. And this is sort of supplementary to that. I also noticed that there should be a system of monitoring if they're closed for any reason. Does that actually function well? They're meant to phone in if they're not actually opening in the core hours.
Chair, I would say probably doesn't function as well as it should, but that's one of the reasons we've included some conditions about performance and quality of service. And from our point of view, ideally our resources will manage some further inspections ourselves so that we can monitor performance as well. And we will ensure as much as possible that they're communicating with us if they intend on closing for any reason.
Excellent. Thank you. Any more questions on that? No? So I would like to have a proposal in a second so we can move on with this project and delegate the authority to the Town Clerk, Chairman and Mayor of this committee to award the tenders for concession licences following the selection process, please. Proposer? Seconder? Yes. Vote on that, please. Thank you. Moving along. Item number 6, Projects and Facilities Manager Update Report. So that's with you again, Ben.
Indeed. Yes, Chair, nothing particularly to add, other than obviously the salts has been at the forefront for us for quite some time. I'm making progress, albeit a little bit slow. We're getting close. I feel confident, a little nervous about it all, but confident that we'll reach a conclusion soon. We're just finalising some payment options so that we can get them on site to undertake remedial works. And that's the negotiating point that we need to get past, really. We're not going to approve payments for things that haven't been performed correctly. So it's just about making sure the stage payments are proportionate with what we're actually receiving, and then we're settling on retention fees going forward from there as well.
Yeah, I must say I was very happy, feeling quite optimistic about the fact that you're giving this much priority. I think really we just really want the deliver of it now, don't we? So we're just hoping that for now this is going to be the end of this phase, so we can move on to the next phase and conclude this part of the project and hopefully hear more about the future plans for the sorts. Thank you, Ben, for your hard work on this. Anyone would like to ask any questions more about the sorts? Shall we go for parts of the report? So
I'm happy to take questions.
Happy to
yeah, there's not much much else to add on this, Chair. So happy to take questions from anyone.
All right. Anyone?
Yes, I just wondered about, as you said, the future development of the salt. So I remember that we did have a discussion about the option of an organisation like Waves taking over the management of some of the facilities there. Has that been progressed at all, or is it still just waiting in the wings?
Yes, Chair, that's progressing slowly. We're developing some options with Wave so that they can at least consider submitting some form of fixed proposal. It was going to revolve primarily around the cafe and operating services from that building as a hub, working as a hub. We're quite confident and quite positive about it, but obviously these things take a lot of care, and we need to look at the viability of the building as well, long term.
So now the cafe lease has been extended, hasn't it, for?
Yes, for a year, Chair.
For a
Yes,
year,
so that we've got some
there
time.
is more time, yeah. So that's comforting as well. So things are not rushed. So I'm quite happy with that. I was going to talk about the Rotary clock. I was wondering about these costs. Wouldn't a fundraiser maybe, or the Rotary themselves could contribute with some of these costs? How does that work?
Chair, I think with the Rotary in particular, they donated the clock, and I think that's the most difficult aspect we face with this particular subject now, is the fact that they went through some difficult times with the council to ensure that we were on top of maintenance.
Right.
There were some difficulties with that purely from the access arrangement point of view.
Yeah.
So we relocated the clock onto a new building so that access would be simpler.
Yeah.
We took the advice from the manufacturer, one of the only manufacturers really that can do the work on the clock for us, and we're now in this position where they're suggesting that we're kind of back to square one.
Right.
So I think we may be faced, there might be ways that we can look at raising funds other ways in future, but I need to kind of settle exactly where we stand with the maintenance side before we commit to anything.
Excellent, okay. Any more questions on this? Councillor Honeyman, please.
I think I'd say, like the Ben said, we need to find out first before thinking about raising funds as to why they can't repair it with what they agreed with doing ladder, rather than spend money on something. It just seems very daft with what's been said in here, that we've done what they needed to do, and now they can't do it. So that ought to be rectified before we even consider spending any money.
Councillor Argent.
I've spoken with Peter Williams, who is a health and safety expert, and he's agreed with me that if necessary, we'll take the clock down, then they will have to repair it, won't they?
Chair, that's, yes, I mean, I think that's that's hopefully the last resort.
Yeah.
I mean, it might be an approach that if we need to apply pressure, the disappointment is that they're a reputable manufacturer.
Yeah.
So it is sad that we have these difficulties with someone that's a specialist in this area. So yeah, I mean, if at some stage we have to apply some pressure, then it may be that we look at those routes. Yeah.
Right. And the last, and to say the least, that I want to talk about actually would be the winter sports football. We have discussed with them about that. Premier Football losing its home in 2014. We have been chatting with Premier, the person who runs it, Mr. Mackenzie, and just would like to say that well, we know the importance of having the football as well as the cricket and the rugby, and I've spoken to you, and Ben is right on top of the discussions and giving the attention necessary to make sure. Of course, these sports are outdoor sports. The weather doesn't help. It's not as easy always to have a pitch that's in condition of playing if there's so many sports going on. But just wanted to let everyone know that these things are being looked into, and Ben is in constant touch with the people who run those three clubs to make sure they can all be happy with each other and with the conditions of the pitches that we have. Of course, we can't just simply click our fingers and come up with a perfectly good pitch when the weather has been absolutely appalling. Anyway, that's all I've got to say on that, and thank you for all the phone calls and liaising with the last minute relocation of the football from the sorts to the Martello now and dealing with all that's coming from that. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Chair.
Any more comments on that? Richard Honeyman, Councillor Honeyman,
Thank you,
please.
Chair. Just supplementary to that, I did have a private meeting with the football club as part of the contact, the liaison group, and I think I probably need to add to that moment separate email to be discussed out of here really, because there's a few issues, not to do with family, but to do with the football club and the bring on the crouch. So there's issues to do with that. So you may well be well aware of them.
Yes, Chair. Yeah, I mean,
whether or not you're going to say it here or it depends what.
Well, no, certainly from the point of view of youth football, I've been in touch with the youth coaches at Seaford Town Football Club, because it is clear that it's football as the biggest subject that is the real issue in Seaford at the moment. So we shouldn't just focus just on Premier. So I'm in touch with the youth coaches at Seaford Town Football Club, and I understand that there's some options that they would like to explore in relation to the first team as well, and it is just purely about pitch space and availability in these poor conditions, and pitch performance, quality of pitches as well always comes into it.
So the conversation I have is a bit more wider than that, so I think I better do it in an email before you, otherwise you don't really want a full discussion without you considering it really.
Yes.
So I'll wait, I think.
Yes, if you could include me on the email as well, that would be very helpful. Yes, we are interested in everything, all the matters relating to football, because obviously it is a huge thing for Seaford. A lot of youngsters and children and also adults play the sport.
Absolutely,
and enjoy it.
And they were obviously it's been a difficult winter.
Yes.
For they appreciate that as well. So I'm sure obviously Ben and his team's been trying the best at keeping it up to the standard you require. But I mean, some Sundays, I mean, the actual crouch they said it's been very good anyway. There hasn't really been any cancellations really, because they say that's very good. But I mean, down the sorts of Martello is always going to be difficult because where it is.
Yes, that was the reason that I mentioned Premier in particular, because that's the one that's been suffering the most, been relocated here and there. So yes, just that. Anyway, yes. So the report, Christmas Magic, yes.
On 1.3, the country new priorities. I'm just wondering, when do a new person be entering after Rachel?
Yes, Chair. As soon as practically possible after the 25th of February. I think it is the second interview date. 25th? Okay, 24th of February. So yes, as soon as notice periods or whatever stage we need to look at, as soon as we can get them into the building. So,
excellent, yes.
Thank you.
So wonderful. I think we can now just say thank you to you. Just wanted to mention again, I know I mentioned at the full council already about Christmas Magic, how lovely the event was, and just thank everyone involved. And I can see here lots of events coming up in Seaford for the year. We have a whole list here. That will be on the website, won't it?
Yes, not 100% at this moment, but yeah, it's going to be updated gradually over the next few weeks.
All right. So that's.
Can I just ask just a supplementary on the events? I mean, are there likely to be more events? Because obviously it's not, as it were, full the calendar. Are we promoting the facilities of the Martello to get more events?
Yes, Chair. Well, from the point of view of promotion, not directly promoting the open spaces at the moment. I'm hoping to do some more work on potentially having some funfair activities at the Salts. We're hearing about some other options, some other events coming up. A lot of people have pushed themselves into June this year, which is proving quite difficult. July seems to be very empty at the moment, but there is actually another event in July, the World War I centenary event that's being put together by Inroads Productions. And Zahart, I think it is. That's early July. Obviously, there's Family Fun Day, and yes, I mean we'll obviously promote as much as we can. That's one of the reasons why we have Len Fisher in the position of the Coastal Communities team, position, he'll be working on promotions and...
Yes, it would be nice to get the word around town that we have a July that needs filling up with events.
That's right.
That would be nice to spread that word. So I think, any more questions here, councillors? Can we move on to note the contents of the report, please?
Just make, so if I can make
One
one
more?
comment,
Go
one
on.
thing. Just the half marathon is actually moved a month earlier than it used to be. For years it was always in the first week of June. They have pushed it earlier because it's back forward, isn't it? I say push it forward a month. For some reason they're doing it. So that second Sunday in May must be, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Yes,
they
yeah.
normally do it like the first Sunday in
Yeah.
June. They have for so many years, but obviously not
Yeah.
now. Well, that's what
I don't know
take
the
note of
reason.
that.
Yes. All right then, so to note the report, do we need to vote or not? Yeah, proposal? Do we need, can anyone do propose a second, please? Proposer, councillor Harder, and seconder, councillor Feeney, please.
Yeah, I just one question about this. Why nothing in November? Because we do War Memorial Day in November. Nothing mentioned in November. It's October then.
Remembrance Day.
Remembrance Day, yes.
Yes, that will be happening in
That will be
Sheffield.
happening. Thank you, so.
Can I just mention that we do have a pudding fest
Oh, yeah,
at the
that's-
Clinton Hall on the 24th of February. I'm donating a Schwarzwälder Kirschtorte, Black Forest Cherry Gâteau,
Very nice.
for those who don't know. So come along and eat all your puds.
When? Well, I am on a diet.
It's
and I have to
24th
miss
of
that one.
February, Clinton Hall.
Thank you very
And
much.
there is a website for Seaford events as well, and I'll let you have details.
Thank you very much, councillor Freeman. Shall we then move on to, we have a proposer and a seconder. Shall we vote, please? Thank you. Noted. Now on to item number 7 of the agenda. Seaford Tree Wardens, appointments and to notify the members of new appointments to the Seaford Tree Wardens and to seek approval for the proposed street tree planting planned for the early March. Thank you very much, Ben.
Yes, this report obviously notifies you of the new appointments to the Seaford Tree Wardens. They are officially appointed as Town Council volunteers, so they're covered by our insurance directly at all times that they're operating. And obviously there's a few members there that have served for quite some time and they're stepping down, and the committee may well choose to go with the recommendation of thanking them for their service. And obviously we're looking for approval for the street tree planting project as well.
Excellent. I think, any questions on that? We have,
I'm to say, yeah. I'm to say because of all of that tree work that I volunteered and who was, we got Mr.
who were the previous people who left?
We want to say we should appreciate and thank you very much from our council and Seaford resident
Thank you.
people and they doing all the hard work, the volunteer and all the new one who appointed. We will say congratulations and thank you very much for doing it. And we want personally, me and my husband, we want to involve when they do tree planting. We want to involve with them.
Excellent, thank you ever so much for
And
that.
if when they're doing it, if you email me. Then
Yes, I think the tree wardens, they have an email group that they send you, I know because I get the email, they send you the dates of the tree planting. I can ask them to include you on the mailing list.
Yes, please.
Yes,
Because without tree, how will be saying,
Yes, thank you. And so we would like to note the new appointments of the Seaford Tree Wardens, Miss or Mrs. Laura Clapham, Shirley Duda and Trudy Brennan, all from Seaford. And I know Trudy and she's a lovely lady. Anyway, I would like to give thanks to the former members Jenny and Walter Tilliard and Jill Allen for their dedicated work and valuable contribution to the tree planting project around Seaford. Would you like to say anything on that, Ben?
No, I mean the recommendation is so that we can obviously write to them formally
Yes,
to thank them.
I think that would be
if
really lovely
councillors
to do
agree.
that. Yeah, I agree.
And I've even considered just issuing a form of certificate as well, so that
Right.
people actually are recognised for voluntary
And possibly a nice welcome to the new members.
Yes.
Welcome, hope you enjoy your time.
We could add the wording to the second recommendation
Yeah.
on that one if you like.
Okay, that would be lovely.
To give thanks to the former members,
And welcome the new members.
as well as welcoming the new members to the
yeah.
to the committee. Yes. Is that-
Excellent. Yeah, I think that would be fine.
Welcoming the new members to the committee.
So shall we just approve those two items first and then move on to the third, which is the, or all of them
If
together?
everyone agrees with the
Yeah.
altered wording there, then you can
Yes,
take the three
everyone
together
agrees with the
potentially.
wording, councillor Argent?
Propose that we agree to change.
Yes, second? Councillor Chambers, councillor Chambers, thank you. And to approve the proposed, well, do we vote on that first?
Well, I think if you take the three together,
Yeah, and then...
so you need a proposer for the three.
Okay, so the third one is to approve the proposed street tree planning in Millburg Road and fairways as detailed in Appendix B, subject to East Sussex County Council, ESCC, approving the final scheme and taking ownership of the trees after 5 years. Any comments on that? So, councillor Hanneman?
I suppose there was only one thing I was going to say when it said about the residents would be watering the plant for the first 5 years.
Yes.
Is there going to be guidelines for watering? Because one person will put a little teapot on and someone else will put a bucket load on. So is there actual guidelines?
Chair, I can only trust in the tree wardens to give the correct guidance in this case. I think actually you'll find that some residents might not be able to do as much as others. So I know that the tree wardens do monitor, they take care of what they call the formative pruning.
Yeah.
So they do keep an eye on the trees going forward, and yeah, I imagine they will give some quite useful guidance. I think they actually put certain measures in place to aid watering as well,
Right.
when they can.
That's fine.
So.
Because otherwise, because they're not being planted till spring, they're going to go straight into the summer.
Yes.
So if they're not watered properly,
Yes,
have not
we don't want to
watered.
risk that, do we? Exactly. Councillor Hayden?
Yes, it's quite important because every tree and every plant is different because probably Councillor she understands this because especially since you work in the garden.
Yes.
Because every tree, some trees need one set
More,
week and one more. Because everybody's like trees is like individual, like people. Everybody's different. And all the tree and plant are different. That's very important to guide them.
Thank you very much for your comments. So shall we move on with the approval of the 3 items? Item 1, 2 and 3 with the amended item number 2. Do I have a proposal and a seconder, please? Proposer Councillor Hayden, seconder Councillor Green. And votes? Thank you. And that, ladies and gentlemen, brings us to the end of the meeting. Thank you very much for coming, and hope to see you again next time.